Can you believe your eyes? The worst form a Pep Guardiola team has ever seen. He's never been here before, amongst other tasty treats in the Champions League this week. Hello, I'm Adrian and welcome back to UCL This Week. We do this every week matches are played, so subscribe for more. And by the way, I see you staring at my kit, thinking to yourself, damn, that's a pretty cool kit. Well, my friends, it's time to check in with Adrian's Closet of Curious Kits, which is powered by our friends over at Sangalo, who have a big sale going on right now, actually. Now, this kit is from an Ugandan club, a club by the name of Mbarara City FC, who play in the Uganda Premier League. This club was actually started by a local high school, but became the club of the region, and right now, they are the only team from Western Uganda that is playing in the Premier League. This one really is a beauty, as you can see, and Sangalo are proving that they are a hot new kit designer on the block these days, as this is one that they have sponsored, designed, and produced themselves, just as they have done with plenty of other clubs from around the globe, from underserved areas, who Sangalo have helped grow their brand and reach audiences around the world. If you're interested in buying this kit or any other kit from places like Uganda, Cook Islands, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Ivory Coast, and way more, use the link in the description to get access to the sale that you can see here. 2 jerseys gets you 10% off, 3 gets you 15, 4 gets you 20, and there are also clearance kits on the site that get special discounts. So use the link below for access, and thank you Sangalo for the incredible work you guys do. Atletico Madrid absolutely obliterated Sparta Praha in front of their own supporters. You hate to see it, eh? I'm sure most of them expected a result like that, but I feel bad for those who are just like you and me when it comes to our teams, a little bit delusional and thinking, hey, a little bit romantic, I guess you could say, but thinking, hey, just maybe today is the day where we see something special, a little UCL magic, right? You go in there hoping for that, but no. Atletico destroyed that dream with a 6-0 thrashing. 2 from Alvarez, 2 from Correa, 1 apiece from Griezmann and Llorente with 2 assists as well. Great match from him. Also, shout out Griezmann. That was his 100th match in the Champions League. He scored 38 times and assisted 13 times in that stretch. In the other early match, Milan were away to Slovan Bratislava, the team that basically gives free licks to everyone, free points to all who play them. And yet they made it difficult for AC Milan in this match. Spare a thought for David Strelic, nightmare machine for him. He did have some good moments defensively, but 2 nightmare moments in both attack and defense. 1, he missed a glorious chance to make it 1-0 early in this match. We'll get back to him for number 2 in a moment, because before that, Pulisic and Barcegran traded goals, meaning the half ended 1-1. But in the second, with Okafor subbed off for Rafael Leão, the Portuguese attacker made all the difference and converted a clean, poked finish over the keeper. And then the nightmare moment for Strelic, passing back to the keeper without looking, and Tammy Abraham was there to finish for 3-1. Horrible for Strelic, feel for the guy. Abraham, though, involved in all 3 goals, so good for him. Sporting versus Arsenal. Arsenal, a team that has struggled on the road versus a team that just lost the coach that changed the club's trajectory completely when he signed with them. And it was a rough start for Sporting and João Pereira, as Arsenal scored a beautiful goal after just 7 minutes, a great team goal as they passed their way down that right flank before squaring to Martinelli at the back post. Then another lovely goal from Arsenal, again, industry down the right as Saka was played in behind. He poked a square ball past the keeper to Havertz. Further hurt for Sporting, concede from a corner kick just before the half, Gabriel this time, and then in the second half, they score from a corner kick, as the second half was much improved early on until they gave away a penalty as Odegaard was hauled down as he danced through the Sporting back line. Saka converted for 4-1, a rebound from Trossard made it 5-1. Ugly stuff for Sporting. It's unfortunate, who had some glimmers of hope early in the second half, but that all came undone as Arsenal regained their dominance and looked pretty comfortable in this one overall. Bayern versus PSG. Bayern mostly dominated this one in the early exchanges, I should say, as Kingsley Coman was a big problem on the wing, best attacker by far, but the goal came from a corner kick. It almost looked like a failed Olympico that led to a juicy rebound for Kim Min-jae to head past Donnarumma, not Donnarumma, I should say, but Safonov in the PSG goal. In the second half, PSG looked a bit better, but Ousmane Dembele picked up his second yellow card for a desperate lunge on Alphonso Davies. I mean, I don't know why he did that. It kind of killed their momentum a bit. Down a man, away to Bayern Munich. Tough scene for PSG. They did have a few moments towards the end of this match where they looked dangerous, but I mean, they didn't really test Neuer as Bayern defended well in the box, limiting PSG mostly to action down the wings and about 25 yards away from goal when they're in the central areas. But an important victory for company as Bayern make it 7 wins on the trot. Not the most difficult opponents for 6 of those wins, but wins are wins, right? Next up, Borussia Dortmund away. Manchester City versus Feyenoord, with Man City trying to avoid a 6th consecutive loss as they are really amongst the crap at the moment, and things looked oh so bright for them. They limited Feyenoord to what? 1 opportunity in the first half, and they converted a penalty themselves right before the half. Haaland putting that one in instead of off the bar as he did against Sporting. Right after that, City's domination really took hold in the second half, with Gundogan smashing in a volley that took a nasty deflection on his way in. Then Haaland 3 minutes later in the 53rd minute, finishing off an incredible run and pass from Mateus Nunes. Not an easy finish either from Haaland, who threw himself at that one. Lovely stuff. Absolutely cruising, right? Well, then Feyenoord scored one in the 75th minute. Okay, no problem. Then Jimenez scored for Feyenoord a few minutes later. Weird one that went off the post and then off of Ederson and then off of Jimenez's chest. And it was in this moment where you could see the self-doubt coming in on the faces of the Man City players. This is a team that is questioning themselves, questioning everything they do, maybe starting to believe some of the chatter online that, you know, they're frauds, they're over, you know? So that third goal from Feyenoord felt inevitable. And my goodness, did Ederson ever make a hash of it. Mental collapse from Man City. High or low confidence though. I mean, Ederson loves a runabout, doesn't he? He chose poorly as Paixão beat him to the ball, then clipped across to the back post for David Hansko to head in for 3-3. From 3-0 down to 3-3. You can see that City are going through it. But all the same, you have to credit Brian Prisky and Feyenoord. They were down, out, and looking like they were completely beaten in this one. 3-0 down away. And yet they found a way to come back against Manchester City away. Right? I don't care if City are in a rough patch at the moment. The way that Feyenoord had the mental fortitude to keep battling, to make every single bit of possession that they got in the final 15 minutes count. Unbelievable stuff from Feyenoord. A draw that feels like 6 points, you know? Atalanta took on Young Boys, and once again we have some tragic news as Young Boys get steamrolled in Switzerland. Horrible stuff, really. And the architect behind it, the man who made it all happen, was Charles de Ketelare, a sick, twisted individual who set up 3 goals and scored twice himself in a massive 6-1 victory for Ladea. You know, when Retegui scored in the 9th minute and then Ganvula equalized in the 11th, it seemed like we may have a close one on our hands, but don't get fooled by the quickness in which a team equalizes. It doesn't mean anything, as this match is proof of. By the 39th minute, Atalanta were 4-1 up, 6-1 the final score. Inter beat RB Leipzig, a team that still has 0 points in the Champions League. And with their domestic form starting to slip as well, you got to be asking some questions of Marco Rose these days. Is he really what we were meant to believe he was from his Borussia Mönchengladbach days? He didn't work out at Dortmund. Yes, he did win the Pokal in 2023 with RB Leipzig, which is great. But recently with Leipzig, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's the guy that can elevate them to where people think he can. Anyway, Inter looking as solid as ever, especially Zielinski, who had a standout performance in their midfield. Inter came out of the gates quickly in this match with tons of pressure, but their opener was a bit funny, to be honest. A great delivery from DeMarco as usual, but it went in off of Lukeba without the man really knowing what was going on, off of his standing heel and in. Him looking around was pretty funny to me. Inter were made to defend toward the end of this one, but for me, they are the best team in Europe defensively. That's 5 clean sheets in a row for them, 4 wins in a row for them now. All they need to do is get their attack up and running, and they will be a very, very scary side in this competition. In fact, if they get the attack going and maintain this level of defending, the top contender for this tournament, in my opinion. Defense wins championships, right? Stade Brestois, the giants of this competition, were finally stopped by FC Barcelona. And look, man, 3-0 on the night. Stade Brestois tried to beat that Barcelona offside trap. In fact, they scored from a ball over the top, but that Barcelona offside trap is something else, man. It's at the point now where you can't just say, well, they're getting lucky. That luck will catch up to them eventually. Someone will punish them for it. No, look at the amount of professional football players, even ones like Mbappe, who couldn't beat the trap. Well, I mean, Celta Vigo, wave hello, but still, their record is still insane. Barcelona in control of this match throughout, limited Stade Brestois to just 2 attempts, a brace from Lewandowski, 1 penalty, then a late one, and a goal from Dani Olmo as well. That last goal, Barcelona pressing and pressing Brest until the very end, winning it at Brest's touchline and then finding the pole in the box, calm finish. I mean, that's exactly what Flick is going to love to see. And finally, Bayer Leverkusen have found their form again, it seems. On the weekend, they were losing 2-0 at home to Heidenheim and stormed back to win 5-2. This time against RB Salzburg, they didn't need a 2-goal wake-up to start scoring. They scored early and often. First from the spot, Florian Wirtz converted in the 8th minute. Man of the match Grimaldo converted a free kick. That was the most nonchalant, checking into the office and doing your job kind of free kick from him. It's too easy for him from that position. You can't give up a free kick there. Grimaldo would also play the ball inside to Florian Wirtz, who would just tiptoe through the Salzburg defenders for his 5th goal of the Champions League thus far. Frimpong with a tasty ball to Schick for the 4th, Garcia with the 5th, and Pep Linders hoping Klopp starts his job early at Red Bull so that he doesn't get fired. Tough times for Linders and Salzburg. Uh-oh. Where am I? This is not the Rabona TV studio. No, I jumped on a flight early this morning to come down and visit some friends in Florida for some American Thanksgiving. Left the cold of Canada behind for some sunny weather. Love it. But I won't let you guys down when it comes to UCL this week. No. Come on now. Not me. Cervena Zvezda, what a performance against Stuttgart. Man, I had a blast watching them play. Sure, Stuttgart didn't help themselves with just how open they were defensively in that second half. But before that, Stuttgart took the lead early in this one at the Maracana, but Red Star managed to turn the result around before the half was up, taking a 2-1 lead into the half. After the half, Stuttgart largely dominated the play, but in the latter half of the half, it became a counter-attacking clinic from Red Star. And as mentioned, Stuttgart, since they were chasing the result, were playing with a far too high of a line. Time and time again, it felt like Red Star would just flow forward at will and score from 1-0 down to a 5-1 win. Girona surprised me in their match against Sturm Graz. Their drop-off has been pronounced, which makes sense when you lose all of your best players, right? But still, didn't expect them to lose to Sturm Graz. Liverpool taking on Real Madrid, an opponent that Liverpool struggles against, man. Last time they beat Real Madrid was in 2009. In their last 8 attempts, they lost 7 and drew 1. However, they started very brightly in this one, didn't they? And through Darwin Nunez and Real Madrid defender Asensio, I guess, as well, they nearly had an opener early. The rebound from Courtois bouncing off of Asensio and nearly crossing the line before he managed to clear it off the line. By the way, Courtois back, Arda Güler starting was interesting, and I love seeing that personally, as I am an Arda Güler enjoyer. Also, Fede Valverde at right back, just as we had suspected he would be in this video that I made a month or so ago. Nunez came close again when Courtois rushed out to block his attempt in the 23rd minute, and man, Liverpool supporters must be absolutely sick at the sight of him, eh? Courtois seems to reserve his best performances for matches against Liverpool, but Nunez, such a frustrating guy. Again, I love Nunez. I am fully aware of the frustrations that he brings, as we saw them well at Benfica. And he gets fair criticism when it comes to his finishing and at times his poor passing and decision making in the attack. But one thing you absolutely have to give Nunez credit for is his movement and ability to get away from defenders and find himself in spaces. He was a problem for Real Madrid. The save he forced out of Courtois that ended with the clearance off of the line that we talked about a second ago. Then Courtois having to rush out and block his attempt. And then Nunez's header, a difficult one that just spun wide. He gets in these positions if he was a bit cleaner with the finish. What a player, man. But still, can't help but love the guy. He's just so likable. But it was McAllister that would finally find a way past Courtois. Nice give and go between him and Connor Bradley. Then a chopped strike across the face of Courtois' goal. Low beat the Belgian. Finally, right? But Real Madrid had an opportunity to find their way back into this against the run of play when Vasquez took a bit of a loose touch. It's one of those ones, we've all done this, right? It's one of those ones where you take a loose touch, but it works to your advantage, and you swear it was on purpose, right? But Robertson clipped him, penalty. Thankfully for Liverpool, though, they have an incredible shot stopper in Kelleher and are facing an Mbappe that has no confidence, it looks like, as he hit it in the ideal spot for a keeper, assuming you dive the right way, right? Perfect diving height. If you guess the right way, you're saving it. If it's lower or higher, maybe not. Mo Salah would win a penalty, and he would show him how to miss as well, as he tried to hit it with the outside of his boot, and it bounced off the outside of the post. But Liverpool would get their second minutes later. Cody Gakpo left relatively alone from a Robertson cross. Horrible defending from Real Madrid. Free header for the Dutchman. 2-0. I am losing light here. Sorry, guys. Liverpool win 2-0, ending the 8-match losing streak. First win against them since 2009 under Rafael Benitez. You're going back to the Benitez era. Benfica away to AS Monaco, one of the most difficult teams, absolutely the pot 4 trap team, that's for sure. What a curse to get AS Monaco from pot 4, as I said during the draw. Anyway, AS Monaco was strong early in this one, and the goal from Ben Seguir, big talent, was well deserved. Benfica looking a bit hollow at the back. Benfica did improve greatly after they conceded. Shame that it worked out like that, but Benfica is a team that is not so solid defensively. They need to defend through attacking when possible, you know? We got to play on the front foot. That's our most surefire way to keep the ball out of our own net, because when we're pinned down, especially against a quality opposition like Monaco, we will concede. But yes, started going forward more through Di Maria mostly, though Aktokolu played his part in the attack as well. But it took until the second half when a comedy of errors saw Pavlidis score, but Akliouche scored seconds later, literally, but it was offside. But not all goals were called off, as Benfica completed their turnaround with Alexander Ba getting on the end of Di Maria's cross, but he was offside. I got you. Madness though. More of it followed with Singo getting sent off, but it didn't stop Monaco from being potent going forward, as a textbook cutback was met by a textbook finish into the bottom corner from Magassa, the substitute. His first goal for AS Monaco, just in general. But Benfica finally made the most of their one-man advantage as Di Maria swung in a beautiful cross for Artur Cabral to throw himself at. That he did. Great diving header from him to make it 2-2 in the Principality. Another ball in. Once again from Magician Di Maria was met by Zeki Amdouni. Both of Bruno Lage's substitutes getting goals for Benfica. Man, Di Maria was unbelievable against AS Monaco. The guy rolled back the years. 3-2 win for Benfica away. Juventus away to Aston Villa, a fellow English crisis club alongside Man City, eh? Coming into this one, Aston Villa were winless in 6 matches. Juve, an extremely difficult team to score against this season under Thiago Motta, but also missing their top scorer Dusan Vlahovic. And I gotta say, both sides looked quite blunt in the attack for most of this match. This was a match for the defenders. Aston Villa doing well to stay tidy, and Juve were solid once again. It looked as though Aston Villa had won it right at the end as the ball fell to Morgan Rogers. Initially, it was called as a foul by Diego Carlos when he challenged Di Gregorio for the ball. And that call did stand in the end. He did bump the keeper. Apologies if you can hear the air conditioning turning on now. But anyways, Borussia Dortmund went to Zagreb and cruised past the hosts with a 3-0 win. Borussia Dortmund, you never know what you will get from them when they go away from home. Goals from Gittins, Bensebaini, and Guirassy right at the death, getting one in there as well for that big victory. One of the results that shocked me in many ways, actually, was Shakhtar going away to PSV, a very strong side in PSV, and finding themselves 2-0 up after 45 minutes. But everything changed once Pedrinho of Shakhtar got himself sent off in the 69th, and it made for one of the greatest matches that you, let's be honest, probably didn't watch. In the 87th minute, Malik Tillman scored to give PSV hope. 3 minutes later, unbelievable scenes as Ricardo Pepi equalized, and then in the final minute of added time, Pepi once again scores from a scrappy goal, but who gives a crap when you score a winner in the 95th minute after being 2-0 down, right? Great fight back from PSV, unfortunate bit of self-sabotage from Shakhtar there. You also had Celtic playing out a 1-1 draw with Club Brugge at Parkhead. By the way, unbelievably good goal from Daisen Maeda. Watch it, please. Great first touch, and then an inch-perfect strike in off of the post to tie it up. Beautiful stuff. And then Bologna losing at home to Lille. Mukau with a brace, breaking Bologna's hearts with an immediate winner right after they had equalized. What a sport, eh? Great Champions League matches this week. I really enjoyed the matches this week. Wow, it's dark in here, isn't it? Holy. So as you can see, well, you can't see me, but as you can see here, Liverpool stays at the top with right behind them, Inter, 2 points back. And we're finally seeing some of the teams who started well so early fall off just a little bit, you know? Equally, teams that started slowly like Arsenal have made their way into the top 8. Remember, the top 8 gets you a bye into the round of 16. You get to skip that playoff round. Here's the mid-table. If you want to take a quick look at that here, feel free to pause it. Real Madrid just hanging on to mid-table with their head barely above water, barely above the elimination places, which is crazy to see. 3 losses for them. And finally, here's the bottom of the table. Some big names like PSG and Leipzig still struggling. Leipzig especially, one of 3 teams on 0 points, which is crazy, man. I never would have guessed that. Lewandowski is pulling away in the top scorers column, but Florian Wirtz has jumped into the conversation after his brace, and Igor Paixão jumps back into the three-way tie at the top after his important assist for Feyenoord's equalizer. All right, guys. That's it from me this week. I do apologize once again for the poor video quality. It is getting darker and darker. My God, I'm going to have to do a lot of color adjusting. I'll try to make it so you don't notice, but you're going to notice. I have different light sources. It's going to be a bit of a mess, but I still wanted to get this out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week for more videos here from Rabona TV. Bye.